What are the unique copyright issues presented in corporate training sector? The workplace training copyright issues. There are a number of different copyright issues in today's world of easy access to images and information. Many insert copyrighted materials in presentations, training materials, or even web pages without even realizing it. Using the internet as a giant informational source, others knowingly use copyrighted materials, believing that it's okay to use these materials as long as they're not making from a profit, or it's okay so long as they're not making certain amount used from it. But if any work, electronic or real world, can be seen, touched, or even heard, and was created with some spark of originality, then it's probably copyrighted. Copyrighted. While copyright laws limit how protected works can be used, they also make allowances to ensure that protected works may be legal use for many purposes, even without any permission of the owner of the copyright. The company you work for may have a policy on copyright infringements. While taping a cartoon from the newspaper to the refrigerator at home and forwarding it in an interesting newspaper article by a private email, that might be fair use of copyrighted material. But infringement is using the same cartoon and the article in a workplace presentation that would constitute as infringement. In some organizations, supervisory and management personnel have directed employees to use materials even after being informed that they would be infringement to do so. Copyright infringement can be expensive. Penalties of actual damage of loss to profit from the copyright holder can be up to $20,000. Statutory penalties can be up to $100,000, and failure to include management information for a copyrighted work used on a commercial website, criminal penalty for the first offense is up to $500,000 and 5 years in prison. Copyright rules for businesses and industries training instructions are different from those in education. For laws, they include provisions that insulate teachers and non-profit users of copyrighted materials against unwarranted liability for infringement. These provisions do not extend to instructors and trainers who are employees or contractors for a commercial business. Let's talk about can I legally use YouTube clips in my training sessions? The answer is it depends. While it is unlikely that a case may have a copyright infringement, it will actually go to court if you violate the law. If you're caught, you or your employee may be asked to pay a fee retroactive to avoid going to court. They may cause huge problems for you in training workers, and someone else in your employee may be upset, and you may even be able to lose your job. The important copyright for trainers' information, if the clip is a movie, a television program, and for that matter, any other media such as music and MP3 and graphics and pictures, you cannot use it without explicit permission. It doesn't matter who uploaded it. It doesn't matter. Fair use for educational purposes usually applies only for accredited educational institutions such as schools and universities. It does not apply to training in most settings, although many trainers believe it does. Some materials on YouTube is released under Creative Commons, which is a CC license, and there's no other different favors with these different restrictions, but most do not allow use for commercial purposes. But what constitutes such use is not always clear. Be alert to the fact that people often upload materials, YouTube, which is copyrighted by the original owner and then labeled as free as to use. Remember that the only entity that can give you the right to use a clip is the one that you own the copyright to. For example, if someone uploads a clip from a television program, they can be labeled. It can be any way it likes, but they do not own it for the first place. they are violating copyright, and if you use it unwittingly, you are violating copyright. You're responsible for sorting out who owns what and who you need to contact for permission. Do not be misled by finding a clip uploaded by someone who represents that clip as free to use. If you work for someone else, you represent that company. If you break the law, your company breaks the law. Doing so, your employer is at risk, and you can be caused to lose a job or suffer the wrath of your employer. So, concluding, abiding by copyright is not just a legal issue, it is an ethical one. The likelihood of being sued is very small. Also, be aware that if you show a video illegally in training classroom, you may have to be challenged by someone in your participating group as someone who is breaking the law. It's embarrassing and it's a poor image to project in your company.